This is a game that interested me since the trailer for its demo. I've spent 2.5 hours in demo playing both single player and co-op, and now I've spent 3.5 hours playing with a friend beating the early access release level. And I wanted to share my impressions as it is one of the most engaging wizarding experiences I've ever experienced. It is exciting to explore every corner of the level and experiment with every new tool you find until you become so overpowered you cannot not get yourself accidentally killed, usually due to some ridiculous ragdoll. The Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Middle-earth 2, The Rise of the Witch King, is probably a game with the longest name I've ever played, but Secret Agent Wizard Boy in the International Crime Syndicate takes its second place. The main inspiration behind it was a question of what if you could play a wizard game where you are able to use any spell or potion on any object, instead of only specific ones on or for specific things. Developer himself describes this game as Hitman level with the Goat Simulator put together, mixed in with some Deus Ex. This is developer's first time making a third-person game and using Unreal Engine and having a multiplayer. So the challenge is grand not only in its idea. What it looks like hands-on is you spawn in the middle of a level with 4 possible directions on where to go, a vague idea of an objective and 7 tries to complete it. You are incredibly weak and have no idea on what anything does, where to go, what to do, but eventually curiosity gets you far enough to learn interesting things and encounter obvious problems, and then you use the former to solve the latter. You found a potion that teleports you when drinking it? I guess I could use it as a shortcut, but what if I throw it into a group of enemies instead? You found a potion ingredient with a weird ghostly texture? Hey, it's the same texture as that crystal ball I found earlier, I wonder if I can mix them. You found a spell that allows you to move objects? That gives me an idea on how to get to that one hard to reach place. The goal of the early access level is to get 6 objects to a specific location to open the door. Finding and procuring said objects is on you and your buddies if you're playing co-op. And after about an hour, there will come a point where having fun becomes somewhat dependent on players' self-restraint. I am reminded of the game Dishonored, one of my favorite games ever, and yet you can easily make it absolutely boring by treating it as a first-person shooter or slashing your way to the objective. Or Zelda Breath of the Wild. When I was watching Donkey's video, I was amazed of the creativity with which you could take down enemies, but when I played the game myself, I discovered that just nothing is as effective as an arrow to the head. So I very rarely engaged with more creative ways of dealing with normal enemies. This is a balance that games with open-ended design have to work out. Most games care about smooth learning curve with a rising challenge throughout the game, but here it seems like the main question is how many restrictions would be not too many but also not too few, because you can absolutely break any challenge this game has to offer. But it is not necessarily a bad thing, as becoming overpowered and quote-unquote outsmarting everyone else is very much a part of wizarding fantasy as well. Here are 5 examples of how problem solving looks like in this game, but be warned that encountering new tools and new problems is the main appeal of this game in its current state, so I would recommend skipping next section if what you heard sounds interesting and you are planning to play the game yourself. There is this girl in a starting location with the thing that you need to get, but attacking her may cause a fight, and you will lose if you haven't upgraded your health yet. But if you follow her, you'll discover that there is an easier way to get rid of her and get the thing. Here I needed to get up to the vent, but jumping wasn't good enough for these bookshelves, so if only you could do pull-ups like Chad Harry Potter in No Wonder Games. So I used this object to get up one. It wasn't big enough, so I enlarged it, then took it with my levitation spell and reused it to get on top of the second bookshelf. If you find a seller who sells invisibility potions, you don't need to buy anything. You can just steal an invisibility potion and immediately use it before a seller could have a chance to kill you. Boom, now you can steal stuff freely. You can discover a teleport, but activating it requires a long fall that kills you. Now sure, you can upgrade your health, but you can also just take a health potion with you. Then after the fall, you die, the potion slips out of your hand, breaks, and brings you back to life. This guy closes the gate before you can walk through, so I used the enlargement spell to get him so big he literally just can't get to the switch that raises the gate, and this is just an example of how good a fire spell can be. This enemy was too powerful for me, and the whole fight honestly was so memorable as I set on fire everything around us to get him to run away, to then kill him, to then die myself in set fire I started, to then my friend having to navigate this hell just to get to the thing that we need. Here are a few changes from the demo that I liked. Remember what I said about restrictions? Well, in the demo version, there was a certain spell that was too overpowered, and I think restricting its use by consuming optional sweets you can find, essentially like a local currency, works really well. It can even be interpreted like your character running out of mana and food restoring it. Another absolutely awesome change is how you can pick up health potions after death and throw them under yourself to come back to life. And there are far more health potions just scattered and hidden around. This way you pay attention when you see them, you store them closer to the ground so you could pick them up after death. You are less pissed off after cheap deaths. But most importantly, in demo, when your friend died, the only way to revive him was to die yourself and reset the level. But now you and your buddies can be doing whatever on the opposite sides of the map, and if they die, well, either drag your ass back to me so that I could brew you a health potion and heal you, or look for one somewhere close by yourself. Besides that, early access level expands the map and objective to 6 shapes instead of 4, castle is noticeably bigger and has 2 levels now, so are dungeons. Although this door looks suspicious, I think it'll be expanded even more in the future. And there are vents now, so you know this is a real video game. Graphically the game is better, although I wouldn't be able to tell without some side-by-side screenshots. There is a pause menu now and settings, the game runs better, and there are few new spells. Now I want to mention some issues I have with the game, nitpicks and straight up wishlist. I can't lie, the fact that this release is just an expanded demo level with 2 more shapes to find was a bit disappointing, but I did spend almost 4 hours on it. With that said, friend has disconnected a total of 3 times when playing, which probably added to the playtime. It could be not the game's fault, but it should be noted that we didn't have the same issue when we were playing the demo. The dungeon-shaped door picture in the objective menu is a screenshot from the demo. Notice it has 4 slots instead of 6. Game icon is still default Unreal Engine icon. You cannot disable reticle individually, only HUD entirely, but I do like how reticle looks. Invisibility potions perhaps are too OP, maybe they should have some sort of time limit, I'm not sure. Jump potions on the other hand are so useless they are immediately forgettable, and I feel like this is an easy fix if they made you jump high at least few times instead of once, or lasted for some time instead of being single use. I also feel like jointless potion should have some additional effect on NPCs that isn't just visual. For example, if it made them drop whatever item they are carrying, or messed up their aim, it would be cool. Maybe all spells should consume biscuits. It might be annoying, but I also feel like there are plenty of opportunities to get additional biscuits, and I ignore them because you only need them for 2 spells and few store items, and they don't reset when you die. Ragdoll on biscuits looks bad, it's not visually satisfying to open chests, and I'm gonna say it doesn't hit the same as the beans, man. Maybe those items shouldn't have ragdoll at all and have some sort of animation instead. Ragdoll in general isn't tuned very well. Objects that should have weight often feel or look like they don't. Although it might be my fault of spell power potion abuse. At some point you just cannot not kill yourself with a basic spell, but I'm not sure if that should be nerfed. The last spell you get as a bonus for completing the level should transfer between characters, maybe even just all spells should. The fact that they don't makes this spell pretty restraining, where it's supposedly just an end game bonus. Graphically the game is pretty bad. This visual bug in particular is very annoying, and the way light travels on character models just doesn't look good. When you get to the roof, I was convinced that there has to be some sort of secret in this visible outside portion of the level, and I need to use extra big jump pads that you can find only here to get there. But looks like it's not the case, so I think this should be somehow hidden from the player. And finally, and this is completely Delululand wish, but I feel like some sort of deathmatch mod or Last Withered Standing server would go kinda hard with this game's mechanics. I don't like early access, but I have to admit it's a fun project in development. I'm excited to see where will it go, so maybe you'll be interested to follow it as well. If you do want to check it out, just note that there is that free demo that is still available. It contains probably like 60% of the early access first level, and it's still pretty fun. But if you will check out the early access version, please let me know where to find a keycard for this door and how do I open this Shrek 2 the video game reference. Thank you for watching.